loose, ran away, and was never seen again. The defendant doesn't seem to care he lost a beloved dog, ignores her calls, ignores her lawyer, and seems to have just moved on. She will never move on. A part of her heart is now missing, and she's suing the careless, unfeeling defendant for $4,839.05, the amount she's owed.
We're suing Jetway Parking, represented here by William Chenoweth. You're the owner?
Yes.
Okay. For $4,839.05, the value of your dog and every penny you ever spent on your dog because they negligently lost your dog.
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
Well, Judge, I have to start at the beginning. My name is Helena Washington. I'm a retired naval officer, and I served my country for 25 years.
Thank you for your service.
That's important. 4 years ago, my daughter and I decided to get 2 dogs. We went around to Humane Society, various places. We ended up at a pet store. We bought 2 dogs, a Palmer Pool and a Maltese. Named them Grace and Faith.
Grace and Faith?
Yes, Grace and Faith. Had the dogs for 4 years, took care of them. My daughter just spoiled them, just dressed them. You would have thought they were little girls. But anyway.
I was wondering what the dog's thinking. Right. There's no dignity in this, you know.
But anyway, my daughter graduated from college, proud of her, and her dream was to go to Paris. She said, Mom, if I do it, can you take me to Paris? I said, you do it, we're going. So trip was set, and I was reading the paper, and the company had a special where if you parked your car, you could board your dog for free. So I had never used them before. I normally used another establishment. I took the dogs.
How long are you going to be in Paris?
We were there for about 7 days.
All right. How long have you been in the kennel, boarding industry?
4 years we've been doing it. It was already set up when we took over the parking lot, and we just continued with it.
In any event, there's no dispute that she brought you her 2 dogs.
Correct.
And you returned 1. What happened?
Correct. So the first day when I came into work and the dogs were there, the first thing I kind of had a small freak-out moment because one dog was there with no collar. Neither of them had leashes. Like, I wanted to see vet records.
Who accepted the dogs that way?
I guess probably the overnight person. It must have been early in the morning or something.
You should employ people who know what they're doing then.
Well, they did have the shot records. This was the first time we ever had a dog brought in with no collar.
Okay.
So I looked into it. I'm like, all right, well, I guess we can either look into, like, go buying a collar.
Yeah.
Or we can let them out in the fenced-in area and just keep an eye on them and make sure that there's no issues. We don't really have an issue.
Except for that didn't work out so well.
Well, the problem was that the dog wouldn't move. It would just sit in its cage unless we, like, took 10 feet back. So the dog would never get within 10 feet of us since the first day that we were there.
Okay.
The dog, the way we got it out is we opened up the door to go outside. We opened up its kennel, and we just stepped back. It went out, and then if we left that open, it would come back in. We could watch it from the outside of the fence, but if we went back there, the dog proceeded to absolutely panic. So the only other option...
Did you ever go buy a collar?
The reason we didn't go buy a collar is because no one could touch the dog.
Okay.
So anytime we tried to touch the dog, it would freak, and you don't want to back dogs in corners.
Okay.
One time that it went outside, we could not get it to come back in.
How did it get out?
Well, we let it out.
Oh, you mean in the fenced-in yard?
Yeah, in the fenced-in area.
Right.
And
how to get out of there?
The dog tried to climb the fence and couldn't, and it's in the corner. And I've always told everyone, don't corner dogs, don't approach them when they're cornered. And then it starts pushing on the bottom of the fence and manages to dig the smallest hole and just push the fence out and, like, squeeze through it.
Did someone see this happen?
Yes.
How were they not able to catch the dog?
Well, the dog would not let you touch it. Like, there's no...
Well, I don't think you should be in this business. If you can't, I mean, I understand, you don't want to get bit and stuff, but maybe, at some point when you negligently do not have a dog in a safe place that the dog is not going to leave from, because clearly that was not a good idea, it turns out, then what? That's it? I just lose my dog? Like, that's kind of harsh. Because you guys just said, oh, well, guess one got away, and nobody wants to approach the dog on the outside and try to get... Tell me exactly what you guys did to get the dog back.
Her husband.
Yeah.
And that he was actually not far away and that he would come handle it.
And did you?
Yes.
And what happened?
He came and picked up the other dog like a day or two later, but never came to hang out and call for that dog.
For the dog that got away?
Yes, and his words to me were, that dog will not come to me, that dog does not like me.
Plaintiff boarded her dogs at the defendant's kennel, and one got out, and she's beside herself. The defendant says the dogs came with no collar, and the dog in question was skittish and just dug out. Let's listen.
Get the dog back. We researched online, like, ways to try to catch it and stuff, and to coax him in.
I'm sorry, who's doing internet research while the dog is out running? What's the dog doing?
The dog's not going anywhere.
What is the dog doing?
The dog is sitting on the other side of the fence, and if you get within 10 feet, he keeps a 10 feet, or she keeps a 10 feet barrier. You can't get anywhere near the dog.
If that was, well, I guess because you thought that everything would be fine because the dog couldn't penetrate the gate.
Well, there's another fence also, and no dog's ever gotten out of this. Like,
there's another fence also that what?
That for the entire parking lot. But
So then how did the dog get out of that one?
The second fence is not dog proof.
What is it?
It's a fence to keep people out. It's a parking lot.
Right, but how did the dog get out of that one?
It just pushed through the bottom.
I want to know exactly who was there. Were you there when the dog got out or no?
I was not there.
All right.
I immediately arrived, though, and saw the dog outside the fence.
In the secondary, like the parking lot?
Yes.
My gosh, and nobody had like a fresh piece of meat or something to try to...
The dog wouldn't eat while I was there the entire time.
So how did that physically... You're all watching. Somebody's watching, not you. But so what did they tell you is the way that dog got away? What did they do? They just got tired of it and walked it back inside? Like, what happened?
Okay, so the dog hangs out there, and the dog ended up hanging out at our parking lot for 3 weeks, on and off.
Oh, God, no. Please tell me that didn't happen.
Yes.
Did she know that?
Yes.
When did you guys call her?
I called her immediately.
Like while it's going on?
The night I called her, I emailed her. I just wanted to find out what's the best way, because the dog's right there. What's the best way to get it in, or get it to come to us?
How long after you tried reaching out to her in Paris did you reach her?
She called me back maybe the next day.
Okay.
It was very quickly.
And the dog was still hanging around at that time?
Yes.
What did she tell you, according to you?
She told me to call her husband.
Yeah.
And that he was actually not far away and that he would come handle it.
And did you?
Yes.
And what happened?
He came and picked up the other dog like a day or two later, but never came to hang out and call for that dog.
For the first dog, for the dog that got away?
Yes, and his words to me were, that dog will not come to me, that dog does not like me.
Come on up. Are you the husband? Yes. Yep, come on up. Tell me about your conversation with him. Did he call you and ask you to please try to help out?
No, my wife did.
Okay, and then did you go try to help out?
And I went to the kennel.
When did you go to the kennel?
Immediately.
So now you tell me, you go over there and what happens? Do you ever see the dog in the parking lot?
No, ma'am, I didn't. Okay.
On the day that you go, do you bring the other dog back home?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I asked, can I walk around the facilities so I can call? And I think it was about an hour. I just walked around and...
Did you ever say something about the dog doesn't come to me, the dog doesn't like me?
She would come.
Okay, so you never said that according
No, ma'am.
Did you? And according to you, she said something about that dog won't, there's no fence that will turn it down.
That's exactly what she said to me. She goes, oh, there's no fence that can keep my dog in.
Okay, now let me hear your side of all that.
None of that's true. When I dropped the dogs off, I dropped them off with... I need y'all to see this dog that he's saying is all that.
Don't go near him.
This is not a ferocious... This is a...
No, it's a little puppy. I mean, it's a little dog. I know that.
And number one, when I dropped the dogs off, I dropped the dogs off with their toys, with their food, with their...
They both have collars. I don't even care. Because if a dog doesn't have a collar and that's a problem for you, go down to the local drugstore and buy a collar. That's inexcusable.
Because when I brought them, they had a leash and a collar. Because every kennel I have, you have to have that. I brought them. When
I assume the real thing that you want is the tag with the name of, and the number to call, because that's what helps when a dog is lost. Did anybody post stuff around the neighborhood with lost dog stuff?
They claim they did. We never saw anything.
What, did you do it?
Because it was in a residential area.
I don't care what it is. I would have papered the hell out of the place. Yeah. Did you paper the place?
Absolutely.
Do you have any evidence that you did?
No, he did.
No, I don't. No.
I take issue with the fact that you folks did not paper the place yourselves, because I would never have let that happen. Because that's the one way you can, that's how people reunite with their dogs, is that they're still decent. Now, I don't care what he claims. Are you kidding me? I've known him 4 seconds. I wouldn't trust anything the guy said on this issue. And it doesn't matter. I wouldn't leave. I love him. I've known him 14 years. I wouldn't trust him on this issue.
Brokerage Boys Club.
I'm selling him stocks with a sexist slant.
I hired him, and we hired 2 other girls.
Are they children? Because if they're not children, they are women.
Next, People's Court.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, does a kennel have a duty to say, I will not accept a dog without having a collar?
As a pet owner, I believe so.
But as a pet owner, shouldn't you bring the collar in?
First and foremost, yes, the dog should have a collar.
So why should it be his fault and not yours?
We're putting, our dogs in his responsibility. You're hoping they're safe.
You do realize I could win this argument if we kept talking, right?
Yes.
Okay. Going inside the courtroom.
He claims, you say that the dog hung around for a good month?
No.
Yeah.
According to you, when you would spot the dog, you would collar?
Yes.
How many times did that happen?
3 or 4.
Okay. According to you, did he call you 3 or 4 times and tell you your dog is here? Come quickly.
I have my phone here.
What number did you call?
Never.
I had her cell phone. I don't continue. I don't still have it.
Did you text her? Or did you call her?
No, it was calls.
Do you have any phone records to show that you called her?
No. But I will say that I did talk to all my employees, and not one of my employees had ever seen her at the parking lot, period, except for the person who checked her in.
Listen, I don't know how you could ever pretend to say nobody saw her in the neighborhood and therefore she wasn't there. That's ridiculous. Obviously, the lady loved her dog. She dresses it up like a ballerina. So there's no, I take issue with the fact that you folks did not paper the place yourselves, because I would never have let that happen. Because that's the one way you can, that's how people reunite with their dogs, is that they're still decent. Now, I don't care what he claims. Are you kidding me? I've known him 4 seconds. I wouldn't trust anything the guy said on this issue. And it doesn't matter. I wouldn't leave. I love him. I've known him 14 years. I wouldn't trust him on this issue. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't trust my husband paying the bills. Okay, I just would not let somebody else do the job that I can do better. Yeah. And this is just something he said he papered it. That's not a lot of effort on your part, but that doesn't matter. The point of the matter is the dog is gone, and it is their fault that the dog is gone, because the dog supposedly dug right under in front of their noses, and then they watched it for a month and somehow couldn't figure out how to outrun the dog that is this big, which is astounding to me. You should not be in this business if you cannot figure out. Yeah, that's normally sane advice. Listen, don't corner a dog, you don't want to get bit. But you know what? Go the extra mile on this one. Put a pair of gloves on, get yourself bit, and capture the dog. I don't understand you. And you know what? I don't even want to hear your voice another second here. Let's talk about what your damages are, though. You have come in here and you are suing for $4,839.05. Wow. For the cost of the dog, first of all, which dog is that? What kind of dog is it?
It's a Maltese.
You're entitled to the cost of the dog. You're entitled to, do you have proof of the phone calls from Paris?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see that. You're suing for the fence you installed in the past for your dogs, the vet bills and spaying of the dog, dog food that the dog ate throughout its life, grooming, previous boarding fees. I know you're angry, but on what legal theory would they have to pay all that stuff? Dog clothes?
I just put down all the expenses that I had. That's all.
But here's what you're entitled to in the eyes of the law. What you're entitled to in the eyes of the law is what you're out as a result of their negligence. You're out the value of the dog. Dogs, I know we love them like crazy, and we think of them as our babies. But dogs in the eyes of the law are chattel, they're property. And so it's the value of the dog. You're suing for $535 that you paid for the dog, plus an extra $1,000, which both figures you're suing for.
No, I apologize. The $1,000 I called the.
It doesn't matter. Just stop, because you feel that the dog is appreciated in value. Okay, it's the value of the dog, and you've had the dog for 4 years. They don't appreciate in value as they get older. That doesn't happen. All right, but it's the value of the dog, and certainly the phone calls, because you wouldn't have had to do that if they didn't lose your dog. Okay, the total then is $582.14. Verdict for the plaintiff, plus of course your court costs. Okay, good luck, folks. I'm sorry about your loss.
Judge rules it's completely the fault of the defendant who comes out here, and let's have your comment on this.
Well, we offered to pay for her dog to begin with because it was our fault that we lost it, and that's how it ended up. So it all worked out the way it was going to work out to begin with.
So what kind of changes are you going to make? And are you still in this business?
Actually, we have stopped boarding animals.
Well, why? Is that?
This was part of the reason. It's just not worth it. We're not trying to lose anyone's animals or be negligent whatsoever. But at the same time, I can't control all my staff and control all dogs, especially when the owners don't help us out.
Oh, the business wasn't run very well.
Well, I disagree with that, but that's your
I
statement.
thought that's what you were saying.
No.
That's not what you're saying? You can't control the dogs. You can't control anything in the owners?
No, I'm saying I can't control a dog when the owner doesn't help out and at least bring in a collar and a leash.
All right. Okay, around the corner this way. All right, so step on in here. You collect the value of your dog and a few other dollars. What's your reaction to this?
I'm glad they're not in the business anymore because he just lied. I'm sorry. I brought all of that stuff. I board my dogs all the time. So I'm glad they're